Every night, we perform the same ritual. We check the windows, draw the curtains, and make sure the front door is locked. We rely on these physical barriers to define the boundary between our private lives and the rest of the world. But we always leave one gap in the armor. We bring our phones into our bedrooms and place them on nightstands, giving the outside world a direct 24-hour link into our most private spaces. For Rohan, that link became a liability at 2:17 a.m. He was sound asleep when his phone began to vibrate, displaying a call from an unknown number. He almost let it ring out, but the persistence of the vibration in the middle of the night felt different than a typical spam call. He picked up. At first, he heard nothing but the faint hum of a bad connection. Then, a voice whispered 4 words: "Don't look behind you." Even with the door bolted, the caller was effectively inside. The signal travels straight through the physical perimeter, ignoring walls entirely to reach Rohan's device. This makes traditional security feel obsolete. We harden our home's exterior, but our devices act as a silent invitation inside. Rohan didn't panic immediately. He assumed it was a friend playing a prank. He even got up and checked the room one more time. The door was still locked, the windows were still shut, and the closet was empty. But then his phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a call, it was a photo. When the image loaded, his breath hitched. It was a high-angle shot of Rohan himself, sitting on the edge of his bed, taken from the corner of the room directly behind him. These two facts cannot be reconciled. If the room is confirmed to be locked and empty, a camera shouldn't be able to capture that angle. One of these two realities has to be wrong. Rohan's hands began to shake as he looked at his own back on the screen. He knew he was alone, yet the evidence said someone was standing less than 6 feet away from him. When the physical security we trust fails to explain what we're seeing, the sense of safety vanishes. A locked door offers no comfort if the threat is already on the other side of it. The next message was a command: "Now go to your balcony." Terror often leads to strange compliance. Instead of hiding, Rohan felt an overwhelming need to see the person who was doing this. He unlocked the sliding door and stepped out into the night air. The street was hollow. No cars were idling in the shadows, and no one was moving on the sidewalk. It was just an empty, silent neighborhood at 2 in the morning. Then the phone rang again. He answered, and the same voice from before said, "I'm right behind you." Rohan spun around, seeing nothing but the empty balcony. He scrambled back inside, slid the door shut, and bolted it. He was hyperventilating, his back pressed against the glass. He dropped the phone. It landed face up on the carpet, the screen still glowing with a final message: "Game over." The caller didn't need to break in. They used the device to manipulate Rohan, making him leave his cornered position and move exactly where they wanted him to go. The sun rose a few hours later, but the house remained silent. When the police arrived, they found no signs of a struggle. Rohan's phone was sitting on the balcony floor, right where he had stood only hours before, but Rohan himself was gone. Investigators were baffled. Every window was still locked, from the inside. There were no strange footprints and no broken glass. It was as if he had simply been erased from the room. Security usually works in layers. You have the neighborhood, the house, and finally, the room. But when those layers are ignored, the person at the center is left completely exposed, vanishing without any evidence of a break-in. There is one detail that hasn't changed since that night. The unknown number that called Rohan's phone is still active. Our phones connect us to everything, but they also connect everything to us. So if you ever get a call at 2:17 a.m. from a number you don't recognize, it might be